Hello and welcome. You're tuned in to Embodied Astrology, and my name is Renee Sills. I'm a consulting astrologer and somatic educator, and I'm here to offer Virgo season ahead horoscopes for your sun, moon, and rising signs. Virgo season extends from August 22nd to September 22nd in 2024. Regardless of your sun, moon, or rising sign, you also have Virgo in your chart. In this season's readings, I'll be focusing on how the astrological influences of Virgo season resonate for your sign, and how you can tune in best with this season's influences and needs. These horoscopes are focused on you, and in order to deliver what I feel are the clearest messages, for the most part, I don't get overly detailed about astrological specifics. If you want more information on what transits, aspects, and retrogrades are doing this season, and if you're interested in my take on what this means for our larger world and current events, make sure to take a listen to my Virgo season ahead overview, where I break down this season's astrology in detail and offer interpretation and intuition for working with it on personal and collective levels. Over the course of Virgo season, I and the team here at Embodied Astrology have a number of offerings that resonate with Virgo's needs of practicality, healing, and service to the larger whole. Practically, astrology is a great tool for timing and strategy. And historically, it has been used by leaders in all spheres to take advantage of opportunity and work skillfully with challenge. As you're probably well aware, there are lots of challenges in our world right now that need skillful approaches in order to heal and tend the needs of the greater good. In service of these aims, Embodied Astrology is hosting a participatory astrological research group where we're exploring critical areas in need of activism and developing timing strategies for activists and organizers to tune in with the greatest efficacy and change between now and 2050. In Virgo season, our research group will be meeting twice, on September 12th and 14th, and we would love to have you there. On a personal level, bringing our best to the needs of the times is never always easy, and working through challenges is part of what builds our competency, maturity, creativity, and resilience. This year, our team member Sherry Taylor is diving deep into one of the most potent influences when it comes to these themes, and that's the planet Saturn. Over the course of 2024 and 25, as Saturn transits Pisces, Sherry is holding space at Embodied Astrology to help us fortify our discipline and devotion so that we can work in ways that are more authentic and aligned with our life purpose. Sherry's offerings work in cycles that include council sessions, where she invites guests to join her, along with release and rest sessions, where her focus turns inward towards the realms of breathwork and personal practice. In Virgo season, Sherry is working specifically with themes of vocation and purpose, and you can tune in with the recording of her council session with vocational astrologer Renee and integrate with her through the healing release session on September 1st. One of the most challenging experiences that many people are contending with right now is information overwhelm and uncertainty about what is real when it comes to media, information, and news. Current astrology reflects this powerfully in the transit of Neptune at the last degrees of the zodiac. In astrological symbolism, Neptune is associated with our imaginations and the power of our minds to produce feeling states that shape our perceptions of reality. Correspondingly, Neptune is also associated with created images, as we might encounter them through realms of visual media, especially photography and video. With digital manipulation and artificial intelligence becoming increasingly commonplace, it's important that we have discernment and awareness as we navigate the realms of shared information. If you're interested in exploring these themes through astrology, check out the Nebula Lab with Gabs 404. September 7th session will focus specifically on AI and its connections to imagery and visual culture. As social media and news increasingly become sites of social division and manipulation, it's essential that we build skills to contend with conflict. Astrology happens to be an amazing tool for navigating difference and conflict in creative ways that support us in seeing where and how we can work across distances towards mutual aims and efforts. As the social landscape becomes increasingly explosive and dynamic over the next months, I hope you'll consider joining us for our November series with Mars retrograde, led by Ramon Parrish, Constellations of Conflict. Ramon will use astrology to help us find healing in the realms of the internal, interpersonal, and institutional. Finally, this is a time where one of the biggest needs that many people are experiencing is trustworthy and supportive community. Since its inception, Embodied Astrology has always been about bringing people together through the language and practice of astrology. and we continue to offer nourishing and soulful communal spaces monthly and weekly. Once a month, you can join us with Janata Petrus for the Full Moon Artistic Alchemy Spaces, where she'll offer prompts and practices for working with the full moon's influences, the seasonal cycle, and your natal chart. These spaces are rich with support for sustaining through the ups and downs of life with creativity and joy. Join Janata on September 15th for the Pisces Full Moon Edition, which is sure to be an extra potent one, as that full moon is also the first lunation of this year's second season of eclipses. For weekly support, you can find me every Monday in Somatic Space, where we work with the astral influences of the week ahead through gentle and adaptive movement practices, guided meditation, breathwork, and visualization. These sessions are meant to set you up to meet the moment and cultivate mind, heart, body practices that help you align with what astrology is asking for now. Finally, for those of you ready to get offline and into dimensional space together, I hope you'll consider joining me October 24th through 27th for an on-land retreat at the Eco Dharma Center in Colorado's Rocky Mountains. Together with Ramon and Michelle Gabrieloff Parrish, we'll be exploring the intersections of astrology, embodiment, and environment. You can learn more about everything I just mentioned through the links in our show notes or at embodiedastrology.com. Last but not least, I hope that you find this work supportive, and if you do, that you will support us in turn. The best ways to do that are to subscribe, follow, like, and leave us comments, which helps our channels grow. Your one-time tips, recurring donations, and monthly memberships are so appreciated, and they sustain the production of this work. Thank you. Now, onto your horoscopes. Hello, Pisces. Welcome to Virgo season. This reading is for all of your Pisces placements, especially your sun, moon, and rising signs. I'm going to offer this reading in 3 parts. I'm going to talk to you about your head, your heart, and your belly. I'm going to explore with you what is practical, what is healing, and what is contributing to your sense of purpose and your greatest service to the larger whole at this time. All right, so tuning in with what is practical and thinking about what might be happening up here in your brain space and in your mind, I feel like a lot of you are in a space of trying to figure out how to make your life work. And in the ways that you're making your life work and maybe that you're reworking your life, relationships are really important. And there's a back and forth right now between how you want to attend to your day-to-day and your basic needs, and how you want to be in relationship and attend to your relationships. Some of you may be going through significant and important changes in relationships that are creating the need for you to readjust and reassess your daily rhythms and practices. Some of you might be feeling that your daily life, and in particular your health and your well-being, require readjustments and reassessments in your relationships. I feel that Virgo season is really bringing a lot of concentration and attention into navigating togetherness, bonds, agreements, and contracts, and the ways that you may have put forms around your relationships based on what you learned in the past or based on who you were at some point that you are no longer resonating with right now. Many of you are making bold new moves right now, and I feel that a lot of you are taking some kind of stance to anchor yourself or steady yourself in some new and different ways. This may require certain activation of the relational realms, which could look like greater distance or greater proximity, depending on your personal situations. But I think that you're very aware at this time of your wants and your needs, particularly when it comes to what helps you feel stable and most connected to your capacity to care for what you really need to care for. And that includes your body, mind, your heart, your soul, your spirit. And it definitely includes your daily rhythms, your responsibilities, the capacity that you have to be accountable to your obligations and commitments, and the ways that you are working, how you're expending your energy. That can for sure include your labor and your jobs. But I think all of us know the feeling of relationships sometimes being jobs and requiring a lot of labor. And so there's a feeling here as well of what are you investing and what do you need to be getting back, or what are the right agreements for you in order for your life to work as best as it can at this time. So a couple of pieces of advice or suggestion here, Pisces. I think that a lot of you are very sensitive to the needs of others, and ultimately you want to take care of other people. But right now your life is asking you first and foremost to take care of yourself. And the wisdom here is that if you're not taking care of yourself, then you can't actually effectively take care of others. And you may actually be adding to the workload and creating unnecessary labor or mess for yourself and for others. So even though it may feel counterintuitive in some ways to care for others by caring for yourself, that is what this season is really asking you to attend with. And my feeling is that you are supported when you tune in with the basic practicalities of what you need in order to not just survive and sustain, but really to give your best, to feel your best, and to be the most generous. And so again, in order for you to care for others as skillfully and fully as you can, you want to be set up to be generous and to give joyfully of what you have to give. And so over the course of Virgo season, it is a really helpful time for you to do some inventory around what you know fills your cup. And that could include all kinds of things. Definitely can include what you consume, what you're giving to your body, what you're giving to your mind, the kinds of time that you're able to spend with what you enjoy most, how you take care of your individual and particular needs. So all of us are different, right? And we have different shaped cups that need to be filled. And each of us then need to be responsible to filling those cups to some extent. So I know, for example, that I'm a person that needs a lot of time alone. And it's up to me to advocate for that with the people who I live with and who I'm close with, to make sure that I get that for myself, so that when I'm together with those people, I won't be feeling stingy and upset that I didn't get my time alone. So Pisces, what fills your cup? What helps you get to a place where you feel the most generous and where you are most aligned with your capacity? Now, this is going to change over the course of your life, from season to season, from day to day, and sometimes moment to moment. And so your capacity to really listen to your inner body and to be honest with yourself is essential. This requires self-confidence. This requires self-love. This requires the repetition of affirmation to yourself that when you care for the needs of your own that you can care for, that is in turn caring for others. So very practically, and very much where you benefit from putting your mind over the course of Virgo season, has to do with your needs, your wants, and your practical considerations for your life energy, for your unique needs and offerings, and how by tending to what you know that you need, you can give most effectively and generously to others. When it comes to healing, you might be able to imagine how what I was just talking about could be healing in and of itself, but may also require some healing in order to do that. Over the course of Virgo season, you can work very effectively with some healing projects, particularly with the new moon and the full moon, especially because Virgo is your opposite sign. It has a lot to do with the ways that you relate outside of your body to anything that's external to you. And so we have a Virgo new moon on September 2nd. And whatever the season is that we're in, the opposite of that then is the full moon. And so we have a full moon in your sign in Pisces on September 17th. This is a special full moon because it is an eclipse. It's also the first eclipse in a series of eclipses that will take place between now and the beginning of 2027 that will be happening in Virgo and Pisces seasons, or in these signs. So especially for you Pisces, you really want to pay attention to these eclipses. It is really special to have eclipses in your sign. And especially because these eclipses in Pisces resonate with the North Node. That's the ascending node of the moon, or the place where the moon is, direction where the moon is rising around the earth. This brings a lot of emphasis into the evolution of Pisces as an archetypal energy. The North Node has not been in Pisces for about 18 years, so it is remarkable that is coming into your sign, and definitely something that you want to be working with. Over the course of Virgo season, and especially around the lunations and the space between them, September 2nd through the 17th, you receive healing from really giving yourself a lot of attention in ways that I'm going to say resonate with the archetypal energy of the best parents that you can imagine. Sometimes people hear language like divine parent, divine mother, divine father, something like that. And this language is meant to symbolize that parents are archetypes, and that those of us that embody parental roles are many things. We are children, we are siblings, we are human beings, and then we fulfill roles of parents. But any human being who takes on the role of the parent is always up against the archetype of the parental energy. And I'm going to say is always going to fall short. Psychology reminds us all the time that the deepest wounds that any of us are holding in our psyches are the wounds that have to do with our parents and our very early experiences. Because in our early days as infants, before we have vision, before we've developed any capacity to know where our bodies begin and end or how they work, the big beings who take care of us and make sure that we're fed and cleaned and warm and protected really resonate in our consciousness as gods, kind of. And those big beings, of course, are people. And people are messy. You know, we're complicated, we're distracted, we're trying to do a million things, and we're not always able to care and attend for each other as we might wish to. And sometimes the situations that prevent people from caring and tending for their children are extreme. So it feels like this is a time for you, Pisces, to really call in and embody and meditate and reflect with divine parental energy, and offer yourself the healing for what you didn't get in your infancy, in your childhood, and up until now, because I know that we all feel like babies and like children sometimes. So where you feel scared, where you feel alone, where you feel unseen and unwitnessed and underappreciated, in the ways that you might experience reactivity or childishness, this kind of grasping or clinging or competing or fighting or devolving into some kind of state where, you know, we can all go, that doesn't really uplift our dignity. These are energies that do not want you to critique them. These are energies that do not want to feel pathologized and wrong. They're energies that need to be held in the loving embrace of creation and the, again, kind of divine parent beings that you can access through your imagination and maybe through your felt sense as you embody for yourself the energetic ideas or frequencies of what these kinds of states need. For example, if you're feeling overwhelmed and freaked out and all alone in it, and in that sense of isolation, you notice that you're cranky and crabby and insecure and a little volatile, this might be a good time for you to hug yourself. This is a very quickly effective somatic technique that is quite simple. So maybe you want to do it with me right now. You can wrap one arm around your chest into the opposite armpit or shoulder, and the other arm around the back of your shoulder, and squeeze in. And as you squeeze in, take a breath and feel your own contact. I felt like my whole body chemistry just got a little more anchored and calm. Self-touch is an amazing healing practice, and it's one of the ways that we can be really wonderful parents to ourselves. No one knows the kinds of touch that we most need like we do. And so you know in your body mind right now what parts of your body feel unprotected or are resonating with anxiety or trauma or are completely offline and disassociated. Bring your hands there. Bring your breath there. If you have others who are trustworthy in your life, you can also ask for touch. And the more contact and presence that you can bring to the parts of you that are feeling young and in need of support and protection, the more you'll be able to skillfully integrate those parts and build neural pathways in your own body mind that help you regulate and access your dignity, your intelligence, and your capacity for working with what is coming up. Secondly, when it comes to healing, Pisces, I really want to encourage you to pay attention to the ways that you internalize judgment and critique. This could be ways that you might project that into yourself, where you might imagine other people's voices telling you, where you aren't enough, where you fucked up, blah, blah, blah. This could be your own voice giving you that information. And this could also include the ways that you might project that out and how you see the faults in others or want to critique them or belittle them. This is a period of time in which you benefit from softening and relaxing the inner critic. The inner critic is pretty much always a manifestation of a disintegrated inner child. And the inner critic often comes up as a protective mechanism when we're feeling fragmented and frantic. So the techniques that I was just talking about, the self-touch, the breathing, the self-regulating, can also help calm a frenetic mind that wants to grab onto criticism and nitpickiness. And going along with this, I just want to tell you, Pisces, that it is okay to be a mess. You're a human being. Human beings can be messy. And as the North Node and eclipses come into Pisces, all of us are living through a time that is profoundly messy. There's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of disorganization. There are a lot of things kind of exploding. And there have been a lot of messes made in the past that now need to be attended to and dealt with. And when you, as an individual being, feel kind of messy, I just really need you to know that you're not alone and that whatever the mess is, it is not entirely of your creation. You might need to be accountable and clean it up and participate with, reorganizing or something. But whatever created that mess involves other people. It involves also lineages. It involves influences that are bigger than you, that you are responding or reacting to as well. And so the more that you can kind of hold compassion around what feels messy right now, the less likely you are to engage with nitpickiness and criticism and anxiety. And the more capable you'll be of calming the parts of you that could feel freaked out and overwhelmed. Okay, finally, thinking into larger service and greater purpose at this time. Pisces, it feels to me that a big, important component of what you're up to right now has to do with the ways that you connect to the larger whole, actually. Your sign is one that is often described as boundaryless and interpermeating, at one with everything. And I think that a lot of people who resonate strongly with the Pisces archetype, especially if it's one of your big three, might sometimes feel a sense of confusion about where you start and the rest of the world ends, or where the rest of the world begins. And noticing or being able to notice the places of interpermeation and relationship are super important. I think that a lot of you are really feeling called to attend to some kind of collective healing or greater transformation in the world. And though this is the kind of purpose of this part of the reading, to talk to you about your particular purpose and engagement with the larger whole, I'm going to say that for you, it is about being purposeful and recognizing that no matter what you do, you are part of the larger whole. You have an impact, even if you feel that your life is really small and your actions are unimportant. You have an impact. You are one drop in the ocean, but your drop is important. And depending on what you bring in to the collective space with your vibe and your emotional affect and your psychology and your thoughts and how you cultivate your attention and what you put your efforts in to creating, your impact is going to change. In order for you to be of greatest service at this time, you need to remember that you have an impact. You need to remember that you are always part of the larger whole. And when you indulge fantasies of isolation and individualism and separation, you're not actually able to access your sense of greatest purpose. In order for you to give your biggest gifts at this time, it is so important that you remember that you are part of the larger whole. But in remembering that you're part of the larger whole, can you also really clarify your experience of being an individuated body in this life? And that you have capacity for choice, and you have agency for your actions. What you focus on, what you put your attention to, will necessarily shape your energy. How you show up for your life, for your relationships, will enormously contribute to your contribution. And so it feels that at this time, a lot of you could be doing any number of things. And there isn't actually a specific place in your life where I'm going to say that when you focus here, you are giving your biggest gifts or you're aligning with your greatest service. I'm going to say that no matter what it is that you're doing, your greatest service right now is in remembering that you're part of the larger whole. And tuning in with your interconnections as you also tune in with your individuation. Remember that you have capacity for choice. The world is worlding. None of us get to choose or control what's happening for other people, for the weather, with nations and big identities and stuff like that. Totally out of our control. What do we get to do? We get to employ our own agency. We get to pay attention to our own choices. We get to cultivate our strengths and our gifts. We get to work with the ways that we are childish and immature and reactive and needy. And when you do these things, when you really focus on the ways that you are part of the larger whole, you are giving your greatest gifts, you are being of greatest service, and you are aligning with the ways that you uniquely can embody and live into your purpose at this time. Pisces, I hope any or all of that is helpful. I'm wishing you all the best in Virgo season and beyond. Bye for now.